In this movie, I take a moment to do an overview of the topics that we are going to cover. Now, first of all, we are doing the introduction right now, where we talk about the course and all of the different assumptions, topics, and system requirements to make the most out of this training course. After we get done with that, we're going to take a look at what is CSS, and we're going to provide a definition and see how it works with some of our other web technologies. We're going to follow that up with a section on CSS basics. So here we're going to look at the syntactical nature of CSS, as well as how we can implement it in our designs. We're going to follow that by taking a more precise look at what selectors are available to us in CSS so that we can target the element that we want to target in order to affect it. Then we're going to take a look at something called the cascade. This is talking about the cascade in cascading style sheets, and it's discussing how we can design with this cascade in mind, as well as what the cascade is, so that our designs are going to benefit from this cascade. Then we're going to take a moment and look at the different values that we can use for our properties. Now this is going to be talking about different measurement systems, different color systems, things like that that we can associate with the elements that we want to affect. Then, with all of that in mind, we start looking at how we can assign these different values to specific elements in our documents to stylize them. So here we start talking about the content region styling, specifically dealing with the box model and some of the associated concepts of that. Then we take a look at how we can style content inside of our box model using typography and all of the different things that we can do to manipulate our fonts. And then we take a moment to go back out to a higher level to deal with our boxes again and learn how to position those elements around on the screen so that we can do some of our really nice CSS layouts. Then we take a moment to look at how some of our HTML tags end up having what's referred to as generated content, such as lists. In HTML, our lists end up having little bullets automatically in front of them, and with CSS we're going to be able to control that. We can also control other things, and we'll get more into that in that upcoming movie. Then we take a look at another HTML element that we have some control over with our images. So with CSS images, we're going to learn how to put images into our documents using CSS rather than using HTML, as well as learning how to do image rollovers without having to use JavaScript, which is pretty cool. Then we take a look at another HTML element, which is tables, and learn how to stylize the different things inside of our tables. Then we turn to forms and do something similar where we just kind of take a look at what we can do with our forms. We follow that up with affecting our user interface elements, such as the cursor, as well as using some of the text settings that a user may have set up on their computer. Then we take time to extend our view of CSS for a moment to include other media types beyond web design. Now, of course, this course is specifically designed to cover web design. However, CSS does have the ability to output to different media types, and this is where we talk a little bit about that. We follow that up with a basic discussion of how to use CSS with JavaScript. Now, we are going to keep this pretty basic, so we're going to do some pretty simple little things, and I'll give you some tips and tricks on how to effectively use JavaScript with CSS. Then we take a look at the upcoming specification for CSS, which is CSS3, which is going to be rolled out incrementally and implemented incrementally throughout our different browsers. We'll talk more about that in that upcoming movie. Once we hit that point, we're more or less done with the course, where I will provide a review and wrap-up of the things that we've talked about. Then lastly, I will talk all about myself, and you'll find out all sorts of great information about myself. And so that covers a lot of the different topics that we will be covering in this training course.